Okay, another night, another talk. I'm gonna sneak myself in here like Snarky J on that movie review channel. The difference between me and her is that she is about 25, have a nice body, nicely shaped, and me, I'm a 57-year-old man in middle age. Not really middle age either, because middle age is actually 40, because the average lifespan of a man in Norway is like 81. So I'm almost 58 now. Now, but today I'm gonna talk about the genius myth. And the reason I want to talk about this is that I just, you know, on Instagram sometimes something pops up that I find interesting to talk about. And this time it was a quote by author or artist, probably a French one, looks like it. It's her. I don't know why. I'm gonna use this picture in the thumbnail so you can see what it is. What she says here is artists are born, not made. There is nothing you can do for them. Louise something. Yeah, you can see that name in the thumbnail and in the video I posted. You know, I am dyslexic, so I have problems reading, especially when it becomes French and stuff like that. I can talk quite good English because I learned it from movies and just talking, travel and stuff like that. Listening to audiobooks a lot, because if I'm gonna read a whole book, it takes me a very long time because it's just popping around all the time, you know, the letters. But I'm having this very good pitch for language and stuff like that. So anyway, the point today is, as I said, is the genius myth. And the problem with her quote, I'm going to say it again: artists are born, not made. There's nothing you can do for them. That applies that some human beings are born artists. They are not made. Their destiny is already laid out for them. They have to become these people who are doing this creative work because they can't do anything else. It's in their genes, it's in their nature. But that is just a false premise, because most people through all of human history has been occupied with war, famine, getting food, raising children, hunting, and all these things just to survive. And of course, humans, as long as we have had introspection and real creativity, conscious creativity, we have made art, but not in a way we have done for the last few thousand years. We actually had some people focusing on making pottery or making things for the people with money and stuff like that. We didn't have the possibility to do creative work the way we do today. And if you're born in a country like I am in Norway, it's not really extremely rare in the universe to be born. But I'm also born into Norway, where even a drug addict has more money than probably 93% of the world's population. And as a person born into Norway, there will always be something in the system that can actually give you enough to live from, social security or whatever. There are produced a lot of artists in Norway, and most of them are conceptual artists. And when I look at the art scene, I see this, especially in modern art, I see this covert narcissism just seeping into it. And I think it comes from this myth that some people are born to be artists, or some people are so special that they are almost Übermensch. They are kind of different, and there is nothing you can do for them. But this is just false. Every human being are born artist, are born a scientist. I would say art is not really that important. The most important thing is that we are born with curiosity. We are born with possibility for introspection, despite I don't think many people actually become really conscious. They have the potential to become conscious, but because of many different things that happens in their life, upbringing, religion, culture, parents, school, all this, they are not kind of building up the potential to become really self-critical and really critical enough to take in information in a more honest way. And that is why most people never become really creative. They don't tap into this beautiful part of being a human being, or what actually make you into a human being. Because if you're not creative in some way, or you are connected with a creative part of you, you're not really engaging with life. And that can be on any level, can be whatever you do. But it's not, the few who do tap into this aren't born that way. Everybody's born that way. It's just circumstances that led them to it. Maybe there is a genome for more creativity through, I can say, through my ADHD and hypomania, which is just off the charts. I was a very creative child, but when I look at my grandparents, I look at my parents, they were all creative and very open people that let me be me. And most people I know didn't have parents like that. And they were shaped into becoming more normal, if you know what I mean. Today, actually, my mother tells me, you mustn't say everything, you mustn't. And I say, well, you made me this way, you know. And maybe there is a gene that some people can take it to a more extreme heights and stuff, but I don't think we can pinpoint it or say that some people have more than other people. There are too many factors: genetics, food, culture, religion, all these things comes into play. But the problem is with this delusion, this genius delusion that I will call it, is that the artists kind of, when they don't put in the effort, like to make something like, this is my thumbnail, by the way, yay, so like this. I just need to find one, because when I talk, I just go all in, and I can't really find a picture, so I made a picture now. Anyway, they do not go into really hard things that are really difficult. They don't go into the classic painting or classic the gray of the greatest, the gray. They don't go for what's difficult. And I was discussing this with my girl today. When we, and this is actually another video, but I would say that art is what is difficult. But I'm going to make a different video about that, so just keep to the topic here. Now, when artists can grab onto this myth, they can basically make anything into being art, and because they can hide behind that they are geniuses, or they are special, or they are in a way Übermensch, because it's their calling and all this nonsense. And it is not helpful. It is basically a religion. This is true, therefore I am. And I will not have any discussion about this, because if you tell me that I am not a genius, you basically tell me that I'm nothing. You tell me at the same time that I'm not really special, and artists have went into this sad state of thinking that they are actually special. I can actually go back to art school for a little while there. I became a little bit like this myself, because I went into this romantic thing about the artist, you know, the genius. I started to believe in it myself for a while there. But luckily I was shook out of it by facing my own biases and being taught through reading, not reading of course, but listening to audiobooks and thinking and stuff, that I learned to differentiate by the difference between objective reality and subjective beliefs, or my subjective feelings. And that is when I realized that I was not special. And when you realize that you are not special but subjective, you start to tear yourself away from this thing that I think a lot of artists think they are better than other people because they make art. They think they are necessary for society, and especially in modern art, which maybe 2 or 3% of the population care about, which is not based by skill. You have to keep up this myth, because if you can't keep up the myth of the special artist or this special person, it's very hard to keep up the delusion that something that is actually nothing is something. If artists were born how would we know? It's crazy. Just think about how many people, how many children. I thought it was like about 30,000 kids who die every day from starvation. And you see the slaughter in Sudan, you see the people dying all over the world in accidents and wars and starvation and stuff. How many born artists or scientists are we losing every day? Well, we are losing, in my opinion, 30,000 of them by starvation alone. But according to this hypothesis, we are only probably losing a few because they are born that way. Well, actually, such artists are born. Artists are born, not made. That is basically a Übermensch thought, and I'm ranting here. That is what I do. And I just want to scream. I just want to scream to you. Whatever you do as an artist, don't think you are special. Please don't think you are special, because you are not. And humility is so important for every human being. If you're going to be able to reach, at least at least to some level of skill, like Rembrandt, these beautiful self-portraits, there's a reason this is special. Now, was he born an artist? No, he was born a human being. He was born into a society where he had the means, where he was picked up, where he went to school and learned classical art. And then he became a famous artist because he had something extra, maybe some realism, maybe something that came from his parents, maybe even some genetic thing that is impossible to pinpoint. But if he, like most people from his time, didn't by coincidence wind up in the situation, born from these parents into this household, went to the school and all these things, there would never be a Rembrandt. It's like if you can kick his father in the butt right before he came, he would be a little spot on on the sheet instead of creating these things. Okay. Now, as you know, I really like Philip Weber artist, and there is a reason for this, because when I also talk about these things, I choose to talk about human potential. And when I see him paint, I will say I see a person who is taking this this ability given from nature, as Leonardo da Vinci says. He talks about the shapes of nature, how nature creates them. He doesn't talk about God and stuff like that. And that also pisses me off. When people tell me, oh, it's a gift from Jesus, or it's a gift from God. And you know, I've used 30 years of my life to become a relatively mediocre painter who has reached a level of skill that I'm able to fool people into believing that it's good. I know it's very harsh, but I have so much to learn and so much to evolve. I think I've come to the 50%, and I will never reach the 100, because maybe Rembrandt is up in the 90, and this guy is up in closer to the 97 in skill. I don't think you can get any further than Philip Weber artist when it comes to the realism and the capability of taking all of humanity and put it into such a focus that you can actually do these things. Rembrandt's paintings are way more easy to make because they are based by more fluid brushwork and stuff like that. But this guy couldn't have made those paintings with that technique, because this is a very different process. What is almost, if I would say that there is an Übermensch when it comes to artwork, I would say almost this guy is a very good example. But I know that he probably just have this capability to hyper focus. He loves the flow. He has built on a skill step by step. He wasn't born that way. He was actually made through his repetition, through culture. And one more thing. He was born in a culture, in a country who actually give you these possibilities. As I said in the beginning, like born in Norway, you can't really, if you're an artist in Norway, you can't really not succeed. You will never starve to death. You will always have what you need. And yeah. So, despite me thinking that what Philip Weber artists do and what Rembrandt did is maybe some of the greatest artworks in humanity has actually made. There's a lot of other great painters and sculptors and all this, but it is not because they were born that way, they were made. You are born that way. Everyone can evolve themselves into becoming a great scientist, a great painter or artist or author or musician. What it takes is consistent work, consistent focus, honesty, and a will to stick with it. What I've noticed, and I went to art school with a lot of good drawers, way better than me, and people who are really good at the basics. The thing they did, they stopped doing it. They got a job, or they got a family, or they just stopped doing it. And then it fizzled out into nothing. It wasn't that they weren't born there, didn't have it there in the beginning and could evolve. They stopped. The few people we call genius is the people that stuck with it, that kept doing it, that just wouldn't quit, and have that inner drive to make things better. And as my late teacher Krzysztof Nasiolowski said in art school, is that what you need to kind of become your potential as a human being, as an artist, which basically, the way I see it, is the same thing, or to become a truly creative, introspective human being, is honesty, humility, and time. That's it. That's all you need. And over time you create skill, and through honesty you become deeper, and honesty creates introspection, and of course you need information. But humility is what you need. So I wish that people would stop believing in the genius and stop being confused by much of the modern art, because it is actually the emperor's new clothes. There is no clothes on this emperor. Most of the art scene is just pure narcissism. I'm going to make a video where I talk about artistic narcissism and go into the depth of it. Now I'm ranting a lot, but you know, I just needed to say this again. I know I said this before, but I mean, why not say it again? Why should we I remember I had this horrific ex, and she said, "Oh, you said this before." I said, "Why? Well, shouldn't you know? If you couldn't actually repeat yourself, you would very fast empty out conversation. What you need to do is building skill. And how do you build skill? Rhetorically, in thinking, in everything else, music, repetition, repetition, repetition. Every time you say something, every time I read this, I think a new thought. Every time I see this, I think a new thought. So if you should stop thinking because I said this before or I did this before, then nothing much would happen. Anyway, this became a very long rant. I actually started up one rant before I started, and I didn't have any more space in the camera, sadly, so I stopped. So I had to do it all over again. But anyway, now I also have this a little thing I want to take up with you. If you have come this far in the video, which I doubt most people have, I am picking up on my PATRON giveaway, and this is the first painting I'm gonna give away on PATRON. I'm gonna catch up. I have a lot of backlist, but even patrons who haven't, if it's that anymore, can still win a painting. And I think I should follow up these things when I say so. And this will be the first one I will start up with giving away. I will pick one of my patrons. Now, if you like to be in this this giveaway, you can also become a member on my channel, and I will put you into the lottery. So, with this, I hope you can give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, tell me what you think about the things I talk about, and I hope to see you in my next video. And I'm just gonna stand up here like Snarky J. Someone said, no, never laugh of your own jokes. You're probably not that funny. Anyway, have a good one, and yeah, I just needed to get it off my chest. I'm gonna operate my foot. As you can see, I'm limping, and I have to have a revision on a hip replacement, so that is what the future is gonna give to me. Anyway.